Yeah. I kick them all fucking going. Yeah. Live out the 718. It's the motherfucking kid, y'all. What up, y'all? It's your boy M3L, and we are back with another episode of the M3L podcast. As usual, we here to inspire you, hopefully give you some information you didn't know about before. First and foremost, before we get into anything, I just want to thank everybody that's been tuning in. I really appreciate the love and support. I'm gonna ask you now, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you can get the latest updates on all new episodes and all videos I post on this page. You can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at the M3L podcast. And now that we got that out the way, this week I got a real dope guest, y'all. And he got some real valuable information. I just feel like us as a people, this is some stuff that we need because it's here to help us. And a big problem in our community is just not knowing. So without no further ado, let me introduce my man. Yo, Derick, what is good, bro? How's everything?
Everything's good, man. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be able to share some of what I know, and just feel good to be here.
Nah, I appreciate you, bro. When I reached out, it was no hesitation. The hardest part about doing this be the scheduling, and it's been a couple of weeks. I guess we've been trying to link up, and finally we made it happen. I'm a big firm believer in not forcing it.
Yeah.
And everything got happened when it's supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
So now that things have come into play to where now we get to sit down. Should be exactly what I'm hoping it to be. So before we get into the nitty gritty, let's just give the people a little bit of your background so they can understand like who you are and where you come from and all of that type of stuff.
Okay. So my name is Derick, and I was born in Ghana, Africa. I came when I was real young. I grew up in the Bronx in 180th Street, 800, right? And
right.
And you go through all the basics that every kid go through there, right? You go through the streets, you go through the system, you go through everything you could name, right? We went through it from bullet wounds, stabbings, we went through the whole process. And going through it, you tend to, you take the things that you're going through, if you have the right mindset and try to figure out how it could help you, right? I think in my early 20s, I kind of, it dawned on me that everything that's around me just really ain't for me. Right? Just the ups and downs, the everything. It didn't feel right. So I started put my mind, and this is kind of also when I had a foot in the streets, right? So you're getting some money, but it's not correct. And what I mean by that is you getting it, but it's going too fast, right?
Oh, right, I get it.
And you kind of start seeing that you just cycling, like you're doing the same thing over and over, and you can't when you in it, you can't really see that you in it in that way, that it feels like you're going up, but you just literally cycling. You just cycling. And then one time I had put some money away, right? And I had put it away, and it was like $40,000. I put it away, and I'm like, all right, this should be it. Like, 40,000 ain't much, but it's like this should get me away from that. Right now, I can move towards my next destination.
Right.
And I had a friend in a bank that we had always been talking about, like, when you want to buy a property, when you want to do something else, come speak to me. So I went to him, and I had all the money in like a bag. And I'm like, yo, I'm ready to buy a house. And he got nervous. he was like, D, what the fuck you doing? And I'm like, yo, you told me, like, you know, we could get together and I could buy a house. So he's like, nah, that's not how you buy a house, right? So first off, that threw me off because I think I'm smart, but it shocked me that it was something that I knew nothing about,
Right.
like nothing. And I'm like, okay, so how do you buy a house? So he's like, oh, you gotta have good credit, right? You gotta have 2 years of income statements. You gotta file taxes for 2 years. Now, I'm in the street, so I ain't no one filing taxes, right?
Right.
But I was going to school also, and I had a criminal justice professor. So I went to him. I'm like, hey, this is my situation. I want to buy a house. Like, what is the best way to do it? And he's like, oh, you just got to create a business. So I'm like, what do you mean create a business? And he's like, once you have a business, then you could pay yourself. And once you pay yourself, the banks don't care who pays you. You paid yourself for 2 years. So now you could go and buy the house. So that's another shocker, right? My mind is blown that one, I had no idea that it was a whole process to buy a house.
Right. You figure just show with money and
You just like that. I mean, that's what I was told.
right.
That like if I got some money, I should be able to make anything move, right? So, and then when my professor told me that, I said, oh shit, I'm really, really in the dark. Like I didn't even try to pretend like I'm smart, I'm street smart. All I went out the window because I didn't have no financial intelligence. I didn't know how to move my money. I didn't know how to hold my money, and I didn't know how to clean my money up, right?
Right.
So I literally like took maybe 2 years of just hardcore reading. One of the things about me is that I'm really, really self-taught. Like I'm a reader. Like even no matter what I'm doing, I'm trying to like get some knowledge somewhere. But now I was specific about what I was learning. Right. So everything I could grab about real estate, everything I could grab about businesses. But then the other block came in where it's just me, right? I don't have no one to talk to about this. None of my peers, none of my homies are really like thinking in that wavelength. So then it's like, okay, how do I try to find people that could really help me in where I'm trying to go? Because no matter how ambitious you are, if you don't have no one around you to show you nothing, you don't know where you're supposed to go. So you stuck.
Facts. Yeah.
All right. So I had I changed where I was working out at. I used to work out on Fordham. So I changed I started working out in Co-op City because it had more of a professional people around, right? So that was a quick switch, and lo and behold, I was there for like a year and change, and the people I met there helped me on this journey. The guy that showed me how to buy properties, right, was a guy, him, right? So it changed my network. It changed immediately. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now it's like it really works like that, right? One, in order to make things different, you kind of have to leave where you know, right? And that's the hardest part because you're going in a new spot where you can't be deep from the block, right?
You switch everything up.
You got to switch everything up, and then the things that maybe because it's so new, it's uncomfortable. I'm trying to watch how I speak because sometimes it's too aggressive for somebody who's not from that world.
Right.
I'm trying to make all these adjustments, but in 2 years, I had my corporation, right? I was able to pay myself. And in 2 years, I also fixed my credit and I was able to get my first house. All right. So that was the real start where the one is I'm successful in that way. Like I went from nothing to I have a property, and I have a property where it's not even like I'm living in it. I have a property that's rented out to somebody. Right?
It's paying for itself.
It's paying for itself. But now I have conviction. Like I have proof that I could level up a little bit, right? So now I went extremely to the left. Now I started going to meetups. I started going to meetups in like White Plains and Nyack. So meetups is like a
Yeah, I was just
social.
about to ask you what's meetups.
Okay, so meetup is like meetup.com, right? It's like a social site where different people hold different events. So if you go to meetup.com, you'll put in something like real estate, and you will find all the local real estate classes in your area,
Oh, okay.
right? So I utilize that, and that's how I was able to go way outside my circle and start meeting people, high level people.
Branching off.
Yeah, I'm meeting people that own buildings, and I'm like, wait, like people own these things, you know, the buildings that we was claiming forever.
Somebody
Like,
else owned them, actually.
and once that opened me up, I'm like, okay, so then how can I maximize what I'm trying to do? Where can I take it? Right. And then you realize quickly, you know, after you spend the money buying a house, you're broke. Like you don't have anything. So it's like, okay, what is my next step? How do I try to build more? And then at a meetup, I met a Jewish guy. He came up to me and he's like, hey, you know, I see you here. You look like you're trying to learn. Do you know what leverage is? And I'm like, yeah, I know what leverage is. It's more or less just something you use to move things along, right?
Mhm.
So like, yeah, that's leverage, but in this world, leverage is credit. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got credit. He's like, you got credit for yourself, but do you have credit for your business? All right. I had no idea that your business could have credit. So he broke the steps down to me. He was selling it. He was like, look, if you it was $700 a month, but if you pay the $700 a month in 6 months, I could get you 150,000 in credit for your business.
Mm.
So my mind is blown. First of all, I'm thinking it's a scam, right? I'm like, I know he's trying to get me. He somebody from the hood here, and he just giving it a shot. But I'm like, okay, but what if it's not a scam, right? What if he could really do it? And what if it's something that I could learn that I could utilize moving forward?
Right.
So he set up the whole thing. I gave him my information, my business information. He set it up, and then I started getting like emails from companies saying like, "Hey, we have your company here. You have to place an order." So I'm calling him like, "Hey, what is this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's how you build business credit. You have to have net 30s with these companies so that they extend credit to your business."
Mm.
Right. So I'm like, okay. So I start placing orders. Next thing you know, companies now that were offering me $1,000 in credit, 2 months later are offering me 12,000.
Wow.
Right. So now I'm like, okay, now it's not a scam.
We're seeing results.
Now something to learn. Right. So then I went to Home Depot and just business. I didn't have to put my social down, just business. And they give me 27,000 in credit. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I use that Home Depot credit to get in the deal, right? I had one of the guys at the meetup, he had a flip. He was flipping a house, but he didn't have the cash to do the renovations,
Mm.
right? So I split that deal with him because I used that Home Depot card to finish the renovations, to buy the materials, right? So after we flipped that property, I was able to pay back the 14,000 that I used, and I made another 12,000 on top of that to my money, right? So right there is where I really said, okay, this game, that's leverage. I created money out of thin air just by knowledge.
Literally.
Literally. Like, damn, why don't I know this? Like, why don't we know this? And that's when it started hitting me that not knowing things is what always keep us in these repetitive cycles that really don't move us forward. Right? Because everything around us is owned by somebody. Every single thing. But we never
though we think it's ours.
Though we think it's ours, right? But we don't really get down to it. Let's say it is ours. What stops us from actually mapping it out to own it? Not just claim it, because that's the difference. We claim it, but
we don't own it.
We don't own it. And it's possible. It's been times like through the years where some of the buildings we come up at, they were depressed, meaning that they were ready to be sold, but we didn't know anything about it.
Right.
You know, sometimes, you know, you in your building and you see like the Jewish people come and they taking pictures. It's switching ownership. They're about to sell it, but we don't know how to read that.
Right.
Right. So then I'm like, okay, now how can I really try to give this out to people? Right? How can I really try to show people that this is possible, this works, and is a process? See, that's the thing. I think when you start explaining this to people, they imagine, like the story I just told, that I just got 20 something thousand at Home Depot in 30 days, right?
But it was a grinding point that led to that.
It's a grind, but also I'm paying. Remember, I'm paying every month.
Right.
Right. But it's building up, but I'm just able to be patient. I'm disciplined, and I know how to utilize it when it come in. So that was essentially my start and some of the story about how I got here.
All right, that's dope. D, and you said some key things in there too, like as far as not knowing, because you know, we was probably a little young at the time, but my grandfather always told me, like, I guess it was like the early 70s or early 80s, where they were selling brownstones in Harlem for $1. You know what I'm saying? And now some of those brownstones they were sold for $1 are running for 2-3 million.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we just didn't jump on it, whether we didn't know or we didn't think it was real or for whatever reason. And another thing you said that was key too was like when you wanted to learn things, like you couldn't go to in the immediate circle. You had to step outside of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And just from my prior guests, everybody kind of mentioned that same thing to help their success as far as mentoring. You know what I mean? Having somebody to show them the way. And sometimes that be our downfall as far as we're being guided or taking advice from the wrong people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I kind of, my question to you now is because I want to get into what you're doing now.
Okay.
Like, even you gave us the backstory of how you got here. Now, let's get into a little bit of what you're doing now so they could really understand like how epic it is right now and how much of a blessing and valuable information that you about to share with them. You feel what I'm saying? Because you got some information that our community really need to hear so they could try. So those that are willing could take advantage of.
Okay. All right. So I appreciate that. Right now, what I have is I'm putting the finishing touches for a platform called Six Figure Business Credit, right? Which is where everything that I just said, the steps that I went through to grow business credit, to help me buy properties, to help me buy different products, merchandise. I put a platform together where I'm teaching everybody how to go through the same system, how to use once you have a business. See that the main thing is once you have a business, you have a legitimate business, you have an open world of possibilities of how you could fund your business. See, we a lot of times we don't know, or we don't kind of understand how to get funded for our business. We assume that, right? If I start something, let's say I wanna start a podcast, right?
Right.
I want a podcast. In my head, it's like, okay, I'm gonna need mic, right? I'm gonna need headphones. I'm gonna need, some other programs. But for me, if I'm not aware, it's like how I'm gonna afford all these programs, right? Where do I get the capital from to get everything
that you need? Right.
And a lot of times that's what hinders us. See, that's been my biggest talking point. A lot of times we think having a business idea or just starting a business is it. But the fact is that I think that the stat is like 85% of businesses die within the first 5 years.
Mm.
The number one reason why businesses die is because they run out of money. It's not because the business is bad. It's not because you're a bad business person, you're a bad entrepreneur. It's just you ran out of funds, right? So I'll give you the opposite example of that is that when you see all those Fortune 500 companies, right? Uber brings in so much money, but Uber is not profitable. They bleed in money every day. But the reason Uber could keep growing is because it's funded well.
Mm.
Right? So they have capital that it don't matter how much money they burning, they making enough that somebody believes in it, that they keep
putting money behind it.
To put money behind it, right? It was the same thing with Amazon. For 30 years, Amazon wasn't profitable, but it always was funded, right? So the secret to actually being able to sustain your business and grow your business is to always have funds. And now there's several ways for business to be funded, right? Obviously, you could have some capital, you could have some money out your pocket, right? You could always have your group of friends or your group of people or your family invest in what you're doing. And we know how hard that is, right? Right. And then you could always go to the banks. But in order for a business to be funded by a bank, one, you need to have really good credit, or two, your business has to be functioning for 2 years to get it, right? Now, with business credit, the way we do it is that if you start your business today, we could get you at least 5,000 in business credit next week, right? So that immediately changes.
Now hold on, D, because we got the knuckleheads. Like when we say your business, this is like an official LLC.
Yes.
Yeah, because somebody would be like, yo, I got my business. Like we talking about an official business, legitimate, like on the books. Like
on the books.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, the official breakdown of the business, right? So the first steps is one, you got to have your business, but your business has to go through the Secretary of State. You have to have your business documents, and then you get your tax ID, right? That's the first part. That's the immediate step. So now you have an official business. Once you have an official business, then you need a business phone number. You need a business website and a business domain, right? And a business email. So those will confirm your business. And then when you have a business bank account, see, that's the other thing. So it's two ways that vendors or all the major companies verify if you're a real business. You can have your LLC.
Right.
You could, if you don't have a bank account, you're not a real business. See, that's a real hack. Because sometimes somebody have their LLC and they think they have a business, but when companies are looking at you, they're looking through your banking system to see how long you've been a business. Because if you're a business, you have cash going in and out of your bank account.
Right.
Right. So so once you have those steps, then you're ready to go. Then you need a DUNS number. A DUNS number is a number that you get from Dun & Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet are the biggest business credit reported agency in the US.
Okay.
So once you have your DUNS number, Then if you get your DUNS number today, we can start applying for business credit today. Right? So those are the initial first steps. So once you have those steps, then we could get you $5,000 today in credit for your business and your business name that you could use to buy certain things that you need, right? So, but in the beginning, this is what I always say is a process, and people need to really, really understand it, because in the beginning, you got to remember, it's like somebody not having any credit, going somewhere and saying, hey, I want to buy a car, right? So in the beginning, you a business, you situated, you have credibility, and you did your foundation, but in the end, you don't have no paperwork behind you. So only certain vendors will give you credit, right? So those are called the starter vendors. That's the first step in actually creating, having the credibility to get more credit later on. Remember when I told you that if initially I had $1,000 credit,
and it went up slowly.
It went up,
right?
So that's where you start from. Once you establish the starter vendors, then your next tier, you could get credit from Staples. You could get credit from Amazon. You could get credit from Dell, but they're going to be low credit, right? That's
until you work your way up.
You work your way up. But from the second tier to the third tier, the numbers just don't make sense anymore. You go from getting 5,000 to 50,000.
Wow.
Right.
That big of a jump?
That big of a jump. And then what's interesting with business credit is that all the other companies will start looking at your credit based on your highest amount. Right? So everybody else will start extending you higher limits almost immediately.
That's almost like when you start getting credit cards.
It's the same process, but it's just for your business. And then the important thing, this is changing, because this is where I think, you know how the system always catches the glitches in it.
Right.
Before, you used to be able to do this completely separate from you. Like if you have bad credit, you could still fix your business credit and get it going fast. But now they're starting to intermingle, because all the data is the same now, right? Everything is in one system. The algorithm is starting to read things. So now they doing it to where now they have people having soft credit pools when they apply for business credit. It don't affect your credit, but that's something that I think anyone who wants to try to build business credit should be aware of. So we're finishing up the back end of the 6-figure business credit system. And in the meantime, I also put up, before I started building this system out, I have put together an ebook, right? It's the business credit cookbook. With everything that I'm saying, I break it down. I give all the steps you need to get your, just from a $6 ebook, you can get maybe 35,000 in business credit just from the book, right? So I have put that there, and the program is an extension of the book, so they all work together. So
okay,
that's what I've been working on.
Now this ain't no situation for you to go in, get 35,000 and start buying all the nonsense. Because you know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of be clear with that, because you know people get ignorant. That money come and they could just go in there and be swiping and swiping away. Like, this is still attached to your name, right?
No, it's attached to your business.
To your business.
It's attached to business. So technically, the way we do it, since it's your business, right? You have certain leeways. Okay. But all of this stuff is at the end is how you utilize them. What do you want it for, right? Is a tool. It's saying that, listen, I have a customer right now who's trying to get a fleet of trucks, right? Without business credit, in maybe 6 months, he could probably, hopefully, get 1 or 2, right? But with business credit, he's literally looking at starting at 5 to 10 trucks. So that's the leverage you're able to have. And that's not an easy build, right? But with that, you literally have you leveraging. Remember that word? Like you're leveraging. So this is how all these big companies grow, right? A lot of times we tend to think, and that may be because where we from, if you had something, you had to grind different from it, right?
Right.
We think these companies are playing by the same rules. They not. They not. Is recently I'm reading. I always read what's going on financially, and it's like Apple borrowed like 4 billion to do business. Apple is sitting on over 41 billion in cash. They have liquid 41 billion, but they said, nah, we're gonna use your money to do business, right? So it's the mindset that we need to start understanding, and that you don't have to like put all your money away just to take an opportunity. Because that's another reason why we don't really jump,
Right.
because we're limited in our opportunity. So if I say $50,000 and I want to buy either a truck, I want to buy a house, I want to buy something that's gonna bring me money, right? I use that money, I depleted all my resources, right? And then once you deplete the resources, see, it's not even the money going is not what's gonna hurt you, it's the mind. Because now you don't have no more money. So all your decision making is based on lack, is based on not having anything, right? So now you're making decisions from a desperation point of view, why the other company that got funded 100
with somebody else's money, he got a little more leeway.
He got a little more. So that's the real benefit of building out business credit, or even just building out all the leverage you can, because this system, you know, it's made for that. I tell you something. I just came back from Africa,
right?
And being down there is one of the biggest lessons. I did a video about it, because you really get to see the difference in the opportunities that's available here that we kind of don't recognize it, right? So a simple example is the phones that we're using. All right, these phones cost, iPhone 12 cost $1,200, $1,400. But if I go to T-Mobile, that I just gotta give them $100, maybe. My credit good, they'll give it to me on a signature, right? And I pay the taxes, then I come out. If you're in Africa, there's no such thing. You got to either have the $1,200
or you don't have the phone.
Right? So it really, like, I've been able to see from both perspectives what we have here and why it should be utilized. Is the reason why so many people get rich off real estate. Real estate is one of the only businesses that you don't have to pay for the whole thing. It's leveraged.
The whole thing.
You don't have to pay. So if I'm buying $100,000 house, all I really need is $25,000. If I really want to get crazy, get an FHA mortgage, and I just need 3%.
Right.
Right. So you those are the opportunities here, and a lot of us are not utilizing it properly. We kind of just, we don't know, like that lack of knowledge. We just don't understand how things are working. And even when we do, we question it so much that we start distrusting it. Right?
It almost sounds too good to be true.
And we need to kind of get ourselves away from it, because it hinders us long term.
Now, D, let me ask you this. If, so to speak, let's say I wanted to buy a house to rent out, could I get a business loan for that?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. So the way if you wanna use a business to buy a house, there's several ways to it. There's one, business credit could help you buy a house. But once you start going into commercial, because whenever you're doing transaction in your business name, is a commercial transaction, right? So even if you go to your local bank and you're like, hey, I like to buy a building, that's a commercial transaction. The reason why most people try to avoid it is because you got to put more of a down payment.
Okay.
Right. But in real estate, we've been able to buy houses in our business name through negotiating. There's a financial product called owner financing, which is where instead of having to go to the bank, the person selling you the property is the bank. He becomes your bank. So I have a house in Atlanta right now where the owner, I never had to go to any banks, is in my business name. I just had to put 10% down payment, and I pay the owner directly every month. And I own the property. I could do whatever I want with the property. I got tenants in there. I've owned it for 3 years now. And here's the magic of it. I bought the house at 150. Right? Right now, the house is worth almost 200. Right? And I've been collecting rents every month. And I call that one my problem house. I had to fix more stuff, but it's been worth every penny, and I already got it back on the back end. So now if I sell it, right?
You're gonna get more than what you kicked out.
And that's what the knowledge of the game. So yes, you can definitely buy houses in your business name. It's just the different financial tools that you have available and how you do it.
Yeah, that's super. And then like you said too, like a lot of it is just not knowing. You know what I mean? That's why I thought it was so dope to bring you up here, because I know you got the information, and we ain't gonna reach everybody, but it's gonna be, even if we reach one person, we did our job.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because that one person can open the door for another one person, which can open, you know what I'm saying? And we get that snowball effect going. You know what I'm saying? So that is extra dope. And now I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back a little bit, because you said you came from Ghana when you was young.
Yeah.
Right? How old was you when you came to the country?
I was 10.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, because I remember when we was, I think we was in was we in 129?
Yeah. 129.
Yeah, you know, I took it back.
129. Oh, wow.
Right. I did, that was it. That I think it was. It could have been 129. Because that was like fifth, sixth. Yeah, that had to be 129, because 129 was like fifth grade.
Yeah.
And you went to 193 or you went to 98?
I went to 193.
Right. All right. Cool. See, all right. Now it's coming back.
Oh,
it's
man.
coming back.
Yeah.
Because from 129, I was actually sent to 98.
Oh, wow.
Right. But see, in 129, I hung out with a lot of the 800 dudes. Bill, Ron, Chubbs, and all of them.
Yeah.
So when I went to 98, I was in 98 for one day. when my grandparents seen that they was there, she was like, nah, move you 193. For one, it was right up the block from me, and she was just like, I wasn't gonna do junior high school with them again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's when I got into 193 is when I started really getting into basketball and stuff like that.
Got it.
Well, what's the difference between a business loan and a personal loan?
Okay, so is a huge difference. A personal loan is strictly using your credit, your income,
your personal credit,
your personal credit profile, right? And then your a personal loan, they also cap you, right? So you getting a personal loan.
Now hold on, D, slow down, because we like using a lot of terms, and I want people to understand what these terms mean.
Got it.
Because the information is pointless if they can't comprehend.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So when you say cap you, let's break that down.
Okay, so they will usually limit you.
Okay, bet.
But so if you're, as a person, it's hard to go to the bank and say, hey, I need $25,000 loan for something other than remodeling your house, right? That it's hard to get that. Now, as a business, when you have your business credit profile, there's no limit to what they could potentially give you, because a business has a lot more expenses. You have a lot more going on. So you're able to get way higher loans than a personal loan. And then also with business, sometimes they use what's coming in, the income that's coming into your business. So let's say if you have a company that's making $10,000 a month, there are companies that will loan you money just on the strength of the 10,000 coming. So they will give you that. They will give, they say they give you 100,000 because that's 10 months of your income, right? So they give that to you up front and collect it on the back end. So as a business, you just have a lot more tools when it comes to money, that different ways of getting money for your business. You have a lot more ways to go about it than if it's a personal loan.
Okay. Now, damn, I hope I just lost my train of thought. But damn, so let me ask this. When you saying they're cap you, right? So basically it's kind of a limit on what you could get personally.
Yes.
So let's say for the people that got like those business, like, cause I'm gonna try to bring it to our people as much as I could.
Absolutely.
Cause I know they watching and they probably doing these type of things. So let's say like our people with them clothing lines, selling like the t-shirts and the sweatsuits and the stuff of that nature. It would be a good idea for them to kind of keep like a book or tallying what they're actually selling.
Yes. Yeah. It will be dependent on what kind of loan they want in the future, right? So once again, if your business don't have a bank account, you don't exist. So if we start from that premise, if we start from that point and say that you have a t-shirt line that you run in, out of Tremont, right? And in order to do anything with the banks, they have to have some kind of record of you having the line. That's why the bank account is the main thing. It's like so important. And then your tax ID, which separates you from your business, is the second part, right? And then once you have the DUNS number, then you actively establishing business credit away from you personally. So let's say you have a clothing line. You may need printers, right? There are companies that in tier 2 or business credit, they give you printers. We had one of our clients get a $24,000 printer from Dell using his business credit. He didn't have to come out of pocket for it. And I say that not to say it's free, because let's not confuse that too. Right. So you're getting it, you don't have to pay for it up front, but you pay for it because it's a net 30 or a net 60 or a net 90 account, right? So whatever number you hear with that's when you have to pay it back. So when I say a net 30, you have 30 days to pay the loan back. If it's a net 90, you have 90 days. But
that's the entire loan.
That's the entire loan, right? So let me tell you how that works the best for business. Most businesses are in cycles, right? So if you're selling t-shirts, you're gonna have times where you gotta sell t-shirts. Sometimes you gotta sell hoodies when it gets a little bit colder, right?
Right.
So your seasons, but sometimes you don't have the capital to get your purchases ready for the season coming up, right? That's when you use the credit to make your purchases, and you have 90 days or 60 days or 30 days to pay it back, so that in 30 days, you could sell your products, make your profits, pay it back, and the profits is still yours.
Okay.
Right? So once again, you created money out of thin air. And this business credit thing that I'm talking about, a lot of times we kind of tend to think that we just saying it. You know, the number one business credit user in the world is Walmart. Walmart has 22 vendors, 221 vendors that they use, that they getting credit from for the stuff we purchase in that Walmart. So what this stuff is what's being done at the highest level. It's not just do this here. This is the people, the companies that control the world are using this to their advantage. Because like I said, with Apple, nobody's trying to use their money to run their business. See, that's the mistake that we make. If you use your money to run your business and your business die out today, you lost that. Right. But you see that if a company go down, if Apple go down, if Uber goes down, the people that personally are invested are not going down. It doesn't touch their personal money because they use the company's resources to make money.
Right.
And that's what essentially what business credit is. It allows you to separate you from your business so you could use the house money to make your money.
And save your money.
And save your money.
And not put your whole life on the line. Like, and the way you just broke that down kind of remind me of I remember when Kanye West was first trying to get his clothing line off he was trying to say like the big wigs wouldn't let him in. And Sway was like, Kanye, like, you rich. Why don't you just use your own money? But like, nobody's using their own money. Like like how you broke it down, like from the smallest vendors to the biggest lenders. Like, if you got and these are billionaires. But at the end of the day, they still going to get money from somewhere else to run their business.
Absolutely. I mean, just follow up with what you're saying. If you look at the moves Kanye West been able to make since that interview, billions he earned is because he used his own money. All right. He didn't use his own money. He used his brand with different companies, but he leveraged those companies to get going. Right. And that's literally what the secret has been. Like right in front of our eyes, it's like, oh, how's this person doing this? How's this person starting from here and getting here so fast? Is because he just has more resources. It's not even sometimes being around certain people that I thought, you know, like, wow, he's above. But then you talk to him, you're like, oh, he's not bright at all. But he got resources and he got information that you don't have. So for the moment, he got you beat, but not gonna have you beat for long because the information is accessible to all of us right now. It's just utilizing it to get us to where we want to go.
That's dope. That's like I said, this is the big reason I wanted to get you on here. Like, I'm hoping people watching this are understanding the information you're giving, because this is like life-changing information.
I believe so too, man. I think it's those things that, especially us from the areas we from, is probably some of the fastest way to make better situations for us and our children.
Right.
Utilizing what's available. See, not the stuff that we talk about, you know, credit, business credit, real estate, all of these are just the most consistent ways that people have gotten rich in this country. Right, literally is the most consistent ways. When you look at, you know, outside of, say, entertainment, outside of, you know, music, if you look at how people have gotten rich, is through only business, real estate, and stocks. Right, it's no real other way. Right, and every business, every real estate at the highest level, every stock investor at the highest level, they leverage. They're using other people's money to play.
Even with the entertainment though, because it's like, let's say you're a rapper, you go 2-3 times platinum. Now you're using that as leverage to get a company to give you money to
Yes.
start a label.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it
Yeah.
ain't like they coming out of pocket like, yo, we just made $20 million. Let's start a label. They like, nah, we want the label to give us $50 million.
Yes.
And so, you know what I'm saying? It's all kind of the same thing.
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Because I think people, I mean, businesses have figured out that if I could play with the house money, one, I'm not risking myself. Right? Save me and mine. Two, I could go harder, faster, meaning that wherever I'm trying to go, I can get there 10 times as fast if I have more money, if I have more leverage, right? It is my favorite example is that you just look at anybody having to start a business with $1,000, with $5,000, or with $50,000, right? And then the higher you go, the bigger what you're trying to create and the faster it grows, right? So I'm saying 50,000. The person that starts his business with 500,000, he already has a staff, right? He's not starting by himself. He already has a staff. So just by having access to that kind of capital, he's moving 10 times ahead of everybody else underneath him, right? And that's been really what I'm learning and what I've seen has given everybody an advantage over us, right? Because it's even hard for us. It's hard for just say your circle of friends to just be like, hey, I'm starting this. Let's pull some money together so it could get there faster. And you'll have, I mean, you look like you understand where it's going, right?
It's crazy, bro.
You'll have a few things with that. And then, you know, the sad part is that when it start taking off or when it start working,
everybody will come. Yeah.
You know, you don't even want to be upset. It's hurtful though. Like it bothers you. Like, damn, I was trying to put you on from the get-go. I was telling you to come with me, right? But that's what keeps happening to us because everybody is like just trying to hold on to the little bit they got.
Facts.
Had the leverage. If we had the leverage, it ain't gonna be no problem because you know you see when now that they've been giving away some money. You see people doing things they normally wouldn't do, right? Because the capital is there, right? So that's what leverage does. That's what having access to credit, having access to better capital, faster capital, it lets you just move faster with whatever you get accomplished.
You have people thinking like, damn, how he able to do all of that? Like,
yeah, and that's the game. That's listen, I'll give you the last example is you look at Jay-Z Untitled.
Right.
He had the capital to do it, but he chose to bring all the other artists in, right? Because he using the other money for other things, right? So he leveraged everybody else's capital and bought the company and then sold it and everybody made money. See,
everybody made money.
We kind of be missing that point because sometimes I think people feel like if it's your thing, only you eat. But it's not that. It's the team's thing. If we all put it together, we all got our pieces. That's unless, you know, the main person is kind of janky, then you got a whole different problem.
Right.
But for the most part, we got to use each other and use what's available to us to get what we want the fastest way we know.
Yo, D. Like, again, I hope they listening and and comprehending these jewels, because this is priceless information, bro. This is priceless information, bro. And that, like, even right now, me and you sitting here having this conversation, like, you opening my eyes to so much. You know what I mean? And like, and I'm hoping a few dudes that I know, because I know a couple of guys that got the little clothing lines. You know what I mean? I know a couple of guys who went out and made it official and got the LLC. So like some of this stuff that you speaking on is like the next step for them.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying? So I'm hoping they tuned in and and reaching out.
Mm.
Because before we end this, I want you to be able to give some information on like those who want to reach out to you, how they could get to you to get more information or to take one of your classes and get that mentoring and that information to where like they're ready to take their business to the next level. Because like I said, even if we able to just reach one person a day, we did our job. Because you already reached one. I'm in, bro. you already reached one.
Ah, that's beautiful, man.
You already reached one. I'm like you, bro. I'm in. So just give them some information on how they could get to you, whether it's your Instagram or whatever, your email.
Yeah. Let me give all that. So my Instagram is Connect with Derick. Connect with Derick on IG. No, my Facebook is Derick BDO. What I will do is I will send links to you. Maybe just add it to the description.
Yeah, that'll definitely work.
And what I offer, just because of who we are and where we come from, I have a free call where anyone could book a call, and I would literally just open and pick my brain, get information that you need on the muscle. So anybody that's watching this, it will be a link to set up a free call. We could strategize, see what you need to do. I'm not selling nothing. This is just on a muscle of the relationship and the history between us, that anyone could call and just see what they need help with their business. And I'm here to offer that because Lord knows we all could use it and we don't know when we need it. So it's here. So once again, my Instagram is Connect with Derick. Facebook is Derick BDO. And I'll send the link so you'll have a free call anytime. Just set it up. We'll get on a call and I will strategize for how we could help your business leverage and get fast credit.
That's love. Now, for everybody tuned in, because I do an audio version and then I do the YouTube version with the visual. So for anybody listening to the audio version, for this link, you would have to go to the YouTube. For this link, you will have to go to the YouTube. The YouTube is the M3L podcast. Y'all can follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram at the M3L podcast. That's our show for the week. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, y'all. Love is love. Peace.
Peace.